Hey y'all, I'm sitting here at the edge of my bed and I want to share this little video and I want y'all to hear this young woman and her opinion on birthright citizenship. It's a big topic. Elections is coming up and I am on the side of enough is enough and what is written needs to be followed through, and I say cut them off. That's the housing, that's the everything. And I would give some people time, especially young babies, because um, it's a year or two until they can get their things together where all of this can be sorted out with the citizenship. I mean, we're not that cruel, but we are tired of everybody coming over here and benefiting from what was supposed to be given to us. And I want y'all to hear this young woman. And I got this on YouTube. As Black Americans react to Trump's new executive order, immigrants erupt in outrage. Okay. And just, I wanted to get this clarity on what the president actually signed this executive order on. And if you came here and you are not a descendant of slavery, you have no entitlement to birthright citizenship. And that's it. It was only written in for us because at that time, there was only these people in us that were here. We didn't have all of these other people coming here. So what was written, and it's never been changed because you are not entitled to any kind of government assistance, social security numbers. You're not entitled to any of that. Your children are not entitled to social security numbers. So you're gonna hear a little bit from this other woman, but I want y'all to hear this, and I'm gonna turn this around so that you can see the other lady, that this young lady, powerful speech, and I want to share it with you.
When you hear immigration, we didn't immigrate here, but when you hear citizenship, pay attention. That's us.
In regards to this birthright citizenship stuff, I want to be clear. I never really talked about this and never really got down into the subject of this because I didn't understand what was occurring and why it was occurring. At the end of the day, the constitutional clause that talks about birthright citizenship 100% was meant to include, or was 100% meant to refer to the children of prisoners of war. Okay? It does not mean, and it did not mean at that time, that if somebody from Libya comes to America, that when they have a child, that they have birthright citizenship. It never did mean that, because at that time, when that law was put into place, there were only Indigenous Americans and Caucasians, or Europeans rather. There wasn't a whole bunch of other people here. So it at the time, it addressed the conversation of the time, of the moment, right? So the issue that I have with immigrants coming in and trying to use that as like a catch-all type of umbrella clause for them is that they then are now pushing that means that they have the same rights as those who are indigenous to this land, one, which is Black Americans, who I'm specifically talking about, and those who actually created the system with which we currently live in, which are the people who conquered us at the end of the day. That's what happened, right? Right? So the issue comes in when they are, and see, this is what they're doing. They are trying to say that Black people are immigrants and we're immigrants, so we should be able to be treated and get the same rights as Black people. And it's just not the truth. We are not immigrants. We were already here. So the issue with this conversation is that it separates us from our birthright and our inheritance to the land, okay? And to, you know, to benefit from the system, you know, that was created from on our backs, and it really was. And so when the immigrants come here and they say, oh, this place was built on the backs of immigrants. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. So Black people, you gotta pay attention to this, because actually at the end of the day, what they're trying to do is they are trying to say that Black people are similar to immigrants, that we're the same, and we're not. We were indigenous to the land. We could never be the same. And I think we need to get a little bit ahead of this at the end of the day. I think instead of us even trying to play on this level field, because we are indigenous to the land, we have more capability and more power than we even know. And we need to start setting the tone for that. We need to start setting our own ground rules, because at the end of the day, it's getting out of hand. People who are coming from other places think that they have the same rights that you have. No, you have courtesies. There's a difference, right? You have courtesies. We've given you a courtesy. We've extended you a courtesy, okay? And we've given you some additional privileges, but those are not rights that you have. If you're an immigrant, that's just it. You're an immigrant. That means that we have given you courtesy. We have given you the courtesy to allow you to do certain things. That doesn't mean that you come over here and you start making the rules.
A whole lot of people thought that birthright citizenship was going to fail, okay? However, it did not fail. Okay, so if you are born in the United States of America, you are a birthright citizen. That is the ruling of the Supreme Court, and that is what so many Black American forefathers fought for way back in the day, okay? Because back in the day, they were trying to base it on race and race alone. However, it's not based on race alone. It's about the fact you're born here, okay? And contrary to what many people believe, Black Americans and white American abolitionists and politicians who were on the right side of history decided that early on. They were like, no, we're going to fight for birthright citizenship instead of it being based on race. Because if, in fact, they were to base it on race, they would have only let white folk be citizens, to be quite honest. They would have based it all on race. But now that I mentioned birthright citizenship and how the Supreme Court just upheld birthright citizenship and how this has been a long ongoing fight to get it way back in the day for Black Americans and white Americans who stood on the side of birthright citizenship, I want to talk about that because I ran into a comment and people didn't understand how Black Americans actually co-founded the United States of America, and this was one of the challenges that Black Americans actually took part in. There is absolutely nothing. Let me say this: there's absolutely nothing that took place in the United States of America good that Black Americans did not participate in. I'm gonna say this: the movie Roots had y'all screwed up. Okay, the movie Roots had y'all screwed up. The Black Americans were doing more than just what you saw on Roots. Okay. If you care to even read the book I wrote on it, okay, Black Americans did everything in the United States of America the same way as white Americans did, okay? There's no white people can do this, white people, Black people couldn't do this. No. As far as skill set, as far as surveying, as far as architects, engineers, Black Americans did the same exact thing as white Americans, and Black America actually did it more because we were enslaved. Okay, we did it more. So the founding of the United States of America was not just white folk. I just want to get that out. I just want to get that out there. It was not just white folk. It was Black Americans. There's nothing, when I tell you, I want y'all to understand this. Enslaved does not mean just be working in the fields. We did everything. Everything. We did more, actually. We did everything. That's exactly why Black America can hold this nation together, because we know what to do. We know what to do. Okay? Black America did just as much and more for the founding of this nation than white America.